fun! Hello and welcome back to episode number 2 of Everything in Between, Stage and Screen, the podcast where me and
Adrienne
talk about everything in between stage and screen. And today we're going to be talking about
movies.
Yes. Our last minute plan for the day is to talk about the most popular movies or movies that we have seen in the last 2 to 3 years. And you may be wondering why we are doing this after we disappeared for over 3 months. And the answer is, in this overexposed shot behind me, we were alerted last minute, of course, as Wisconsin always is, to a massive snowstorm at the last minute, which meant that we both came back to campus 2 days early from spring break, which sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's so lovely to end our break like this, especially because April's like the busiest month of the year for me, so...
Hide the rage behind a smile. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yes, exactly. She's onto something there, I think. Not both seen every movie on this list. We've seen, I think, a little more than half of them together or separately. So we're gonna go through and fight for the death on where they're gonna end up in this tier chart, which I'm gonna start rolling on right now.
Death. Okay. I didn't think it was gonna be that intense.
Well, I think there are specifically 2 or 3 movies on here that we have very different opinions on.
Get there.
I feel like I've asked your opinion on Poor Things like 5 times, and I still don't know where you would put it on a list, so... I'm interested to see where it ends up today.
I think I won't be nice about it, because I'm... You know what? We'll get to it when
we will get to it. Okay, so as Tier Maker does, I dropped everything in and it kind of like randomized it a little bit, so it's not in a great order as it is to the list I have made up here, but alright, so the first one we have on the list here, first 2 actually just so happen to be Barbie and Oppenheimer, which we've talked about enough, so I think we can just get that, like, drop a ranking out of the way, and then we'll place it on the tier list and move on.
Yep.
So Barbie for me, I gave it a 10 out of 10. You also gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Oppenheimer I haven't seen, so
yeah,
that's totally up to you.
Okay, I will say for sake of our tier list here, though, I think that S will be our 10 out of 10s.
Yep.
And then I don't even think we should put our 9s in S. I think A should be like our 9 and our 8. Yeah. And then so on down.
It should be like, we liked it, but it wasn't a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So like,
and I love
enough.
Barbie, and it is in my S tier, but for me it's in low S tier. So we'll have to talk about that later, I think. So Oppenheimer, yeah, I give that a 9 in my official review. So I will put that in A tier for now. And then moving on, this randomized list is quite interesting. We're jumping back to early 2022, I believe, to Multiverse of Madness. Now, you know that I have very strong opinions on Benedict Cumberbatch, so I will let you go first about discussing this.
They're so visually fascinating to watch. And also, remember when I first watched Doctor Strange, it almost made me sick at times because of like how overwhelming it was. I don't know if that's just maybe my thing, there's something wrong with me, but it was a lot to process. But the second one, it was just like, it's the most visually interesting, like, movie, like, Marvel movie that I've ever watched. They're just, they're so unique.
Both the Doctor Strange films and maybe 1 or 2 of the Thor films, and Quantumania maybe, are very visually beautiful in a strange way. I don't even know if beautiful is the right word, but...
It's an experience.
They are. I just want to know how that editing team functions on like a physical level, because I feel like I would lose my mind trying to even watch. Getting into my hardcore Marvel Benedict Cumberbatch obsession critique of this film, I agree with most of the critics that they marketed it as a horror film, and it ended up not really being a horror film. It just had horror tropes.
They marketed it kind of strange.
The marketing for that movie was very strange.
No pun intended.
Of course. And I am a massive Young Avengers fan. Obviously, I literally have a video on my channel, 2 actually, about Young Avengers. And I think getting America Chavez was really cool. That was a really cool way to introduce her, because in the comics, she's also just kind of thrown in as this like random character, and then she becomes stronger later on in her run. But I liked that we got her. I think the Sam Raimi tropes are great. It was fun seeing them. It is in my S tier of movies. I don't know. I struggle very hard with placing it higher than the first Doctor Strange. I think visually and character-wise, it might be stronger, but I think as like an overall product, I don't even know if that really makes sense. But as like a product in itself, I feel like the first Doctor Strange was like a staple.
Yeah.
It changed it. It did change everything.
Yeah.
That's kind of what started the worldwide multiverse trend that's going on right now,
That
which I always think back
started it
to,
all.
and I'm like,
anything like that before. Yeah.
So-
I think I also preferred the first one. I think I'd probably put it in like A tier because it wasn't.
I want to argue,
most
but I think I
cases-
do agree with you, which I hate
Yeah,
saying.
in most cases, the first movie is usually better in like a lot of situations, and for this one, I think so.
Okay. That pains me. We're gonna put these all just in their tier for now, and then at the end we might go through and.
I mean, A tier is
Straighten
not
some out.
terrible.
A tier's not bad. A tier's amazing. It's just like I personally because Doctor Strange is he's in my top 3 of Marvel heroes of all time, and
Also
obviously.
loves Wanda in it. Always love her. She's so.
I can't wait to see where we go with Wanda from
yeah.
this point because they've set up so many different things and so much has changed.
She's such like a complex character. It's like sometimes you hate her and sometimes you love her. And
So, Dune 1, I watched for the first time this January when I was doing my Oscars binge lists, and I liked it a lot. I am not a Star Wars fan. Do I know that about you? Do you like Star Wars?
Mhm.
You're not like a hardcore fan.
I'm not
though.
like a hardcore fan, but I've seen everything.
Oh.
And
Have you seen all the shows too?
almost all of them, yeah.
I did not know this about you. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you've played D&D with me also. I like fantasy politics, which is a acquired taste, I'm aware, but it's getting more mainstream. It's getting much more mainstream these last couple years, I think. And I love Dune, and I haven't read the books, and I usually like reading the books for movies. I might read them eventually.
I want to read the books.
The books are massive, and I've heard they're extremely complex and overcomplicated, but I like that kind of thing, so I'd probably like them. But my point being that Dune is like if Star Wars was a politics movie and not pew-pew fighting with lightsabers, and I love it. Okay, do you know anything about Dune?
Not really. Is it like a dystopian future type of thing?
I don't know if I can say yes to that.
I love dystopian future
Yeah.
type of things.
So, I don't know if it's even set. I don't think it's at all set in our Earth. I think it's its own whole thing. And basically, they live on this planet. Well, there's multiple planets, but there's a planet, and they have this thing called spice. And the spice is like this international trade item that's like super important, and their whole society runs off of it. And it's basically a drug. And there's like different fractions of people, and they're all fighting as you do. But it's like super politic heavy and super like interpersonal relationship heavy. And the cast is just so good, and it's just getting better. Like Dune 2's cast is phenomenal. We'll get to it.
From what I've seen, it's
yes.
like a lot of
I've fallen down the hole of being a Timothée Chalamet nerd in the last 5 months. Oddly, it didn't even start from Dune. I watched a movie called Don't Look Up that I liked a lot. It might be on here. I might have forgot to put it on here, but I liked Don't Look Up a lot. It was on the 2022 Oscars list. I think when I was talking with Isaac about Dune, I said that I actually liked Dune 1 better, which is a hot take right now.
Yeah, you told
But
me that.
I think I'd put Dune 1 out of 10, and then I'll jump to Dune 2 quick. The cast is so much better, and it's visually stunning, but something about it didn't captivate me story-wise as much as Dune 1. I gave it a 9, so still an A on our tier here anyways, but it's visually beautiful and the cast is amazing. It's by far one of the best movies of the year, by a long shot. I just liked the overall experience of Dune 1 better, I think. So that's what I'll say about that. Okay, the next one you haven't seen either, so I'll talk about it relatively quick here. So Zone of Interest is on the 2024 so this year, that just happened, their Oscar list, and I don't remember what it won for, but essentially it is a movie about Nazi Germany from the German perspective, and it focuses a lot on the woman's perspective, like the wife of the Auschwitz leader. It focuses on her a lot and his story, and it tells it in this way, and I didn't know anything about this one before I went into it, as with a lot of the Oscars movies I watch. It was very good. It was too slow for my liking, would be my biggest thing of it. But one thing I will say that I found super interesting, and I noticed it kind of feeling off while watching it, but then I went into IMDb and I was reading, like, the trivia section. They filmed it really unique, where the director, put cameras all around the main house they were filming in, and they filmed it without crew for most of the movie. So they filmed, they let the actors go in and, like, be immersed in the set. So they had, like, cameras everywhere, so the actors didn't know if they were doing close-ups or wide. They would just do their performances, like, naturally, so they could be, like, involved in the set as most as they could. I thought that was super interesting. I didn't tell you that yesterday when I mentioned it, because I wanted to say that if we ended up doing this. And I thought that was really cool, because there's certain scenes where you can definitely tell that they are just in it. Like, they're not, like, working for camera. And I thought that was a really cool, just tactic, I guess, they used in this one.
I've never seen that before.
I'm assuming other movies have used that before, but just hearing it read out that way, I was like, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, I recommend it. It doesn't show anything that, I do know what it won for. It won for Best Sound, because the whole premise of it was that it never showed inside the camp, Auschwitz, but you could hear it, because the house that it takes place in is right outside of Auschwitz. So the whole point of it is that in the background of, like, every scene, you can hear, like, screaming.
Oh my
But it's, like, very muffled, it's very outside. You can hear gunshots throughout the whole film. But it's, like, a whole different movie happening, and then all the horror is right behind it. It's a very cool film. I'm not into war movies, like, at all, or even war history as a history buff. But, like, I do recommend this just from a film perspective. It was very cool. I think I gave it a 7. On IMDb. I think I put it at 7.
I don't know about, like, the history type of movies, because I remember I was, like, my high school history class. We would watch a bunch of movies, and I would have to leave the room for half of them. I was, of course, the only one, because I can't handle blood and, like,
I think you're getting
whipping.
better.
I'm getting better, but
you lasted through 3 episodes of Daredevil with minimal outrage.
I did have to look away a few times, but, you know, it's getting
But
better.
there's no violence, really. They talk about it, but they don't. You could watch this one.
Whipping's a big one that I cannot handle.
That's called flogging, fun fact, for most of history.
You
You could not watch Outlander for multiple reasons, knowing you, but specifically that one, that's a big plot point of 2 seasons, is Jamie gets flogged, like, 3 times.
Yeah, that's not... Well, then no!
To near death.
Lovely. No, I didn't...
Zone of Interest, very good, very good. Next here is another one. So I want you to start first about Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay, so...
From the 2023 Oscars list.
I did not finish it. Do not at me, okay? I might be the only one, but it was just a lot.
This is the only one on the list I will yell at you for.
It's a lot to handle.
I will let you get away with everything else. You need to finish that fucking movie.
Okay, I will, but it's just like...
I watched it finally because it's on Netflix now.
Okay.
3 weeks ago?
I watched it for a class because I did a multicultural theater and film class. And we were learning about, like, Asian theater, and so...
That's why you watched it?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, Asian
that
theater
does not
film.
fit with that at all.
Yeah. That's...
That makes me think of American Fiction, which is also on this list, whereas, like, the race aspect... Well, whatever. Anyways.
That was not what I was expecting at all. At first I thought it was gonna be, like, a drama with, like, a dysfunctional family, and then it was like, whoa, what the... What is going on?
Good. I watched it very late to the game. I'm so glad Netflix got streaming rights for it because I did not want to pirate it. I wanted to watch it at full quality, and it is so good. I'm dropping it.
I will finish
it. Well, I'll say
I
this.
Need to give another chance because I think the first time, it was just a lot for me to process. Sometimes I get overwhelmed with all this stuff going on, and so I need to give another chance.
I was about to immediately drop this into S tier, but then I remembered there are 2 of us here, so I need to ask.
Well, I haven't seen the full movie,
finished it.
so I don't think I should...
So are you letting me give full ranking power here? Okay, I'm giving it S tier.
I haven't seen the full movie, so I can't say anything.
We haven't said, like, a word about the movie either. I guess every review I've seen about this movie, they, like, don't talk about the movie. Oh, I should add this here. I know this is kind of late into the video, but, this is a light spoilers review of some movies. We're not gonna spoil anything too hard. Maybe just some synopsis and mild intrigue stuff about it. But, Everything Everywhere All at Once is essentially about a woman, also a multiverse story. I don't know how far you got into it. But yeah, a woman who discovers that there's branching timelines, and she and her daughter are at the center of it, and it is wild, and the costume design is beautiful.
I could say that.
The ending, the ending costumes.
The daughter's costumes.
Yes.
So from what I saw,
the filming and the camera work is phenomenal. I get why I don't remember what it won. I think it won Best Picture or something like that, but won a lot of awards. I understand why now. I'm very glad I waited and didn't pirate it last year because I'm glad I got to see it at high quality and it was so good. Okay, next up on this list, have you seen Coda? I feel like you probably haven't.
No.
So this is from the 2022 Oscars list. Coda is an acronym. It stands for Child of a Deaf Adult. This was another one I went into pretty blind. Also, I will say I have the Oscar badges for 3 years, so I've seen like all of them. But I only put my like favorite ones or ones I had above 5 on like 5 stars on here to talk about. So Coda I went into blind, and it was one that impressed me quite a bit, and it made me cry in the last act. So I was like, ooh, it hit in the last moments, and it sent it for me. It's about one hearing daughter who grew up in a family of her mom, dad, and brother are all deaf. And it's about her story growing up. But it is like more of like a standard family like progression. It's not like, it's less biopic-y and more like actually like story driven, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And it's about about her wanting, you would really like it. It's about her wanting to get into music, and her whole family can't hear. So it's like her trying to like carve out her own path because her family has made her the translator for her whole life, and she feels like she doesn't have anything that's her own. But then her family's like, "How dare you do this? Because we can't be a part of it." And and then at the end, her dad is like super nice, and then they're like trying to get the mom to get on board. It's a good movie, and it was a heartwarming movie.
I like heartwarming movies. Yeah. Then that's one I gotta check out.
I recommend. That one was good. I think I gave it a 9. I don't remember, but 9 seems pretty fitting for it.
Since I haven't seen all these movies, I think there's some I should definitely like check out.
This is just me info dumping movies on there. It has like the randomization of this is giving me a lot of them, but you've seen most of these. Coda, I think I pirated.
Okay.
I think. I don't remember where I watched half of these films at this point.
That might be
but
hard to
yeah.
do it at school.
I swear you've seen more than half of these, by the way. The shuffle is just not favoring us right now. Next one, this is a weird picture for it, but it's the one I grabbed off an article really quick. This is Quantumania, to go back to Marvel. So, I have a hot take on Quantumania. I loved Quantumania. It's by no means my favorite Marvel movie, or even in my top 5. But that's not saying that much now that Marvel has over 50 films.
Pretty up there, though.
I fully understand their critique of MODOK being stupid. But everything else in the film, I really liked. I think the Kang stuff could have been handled a little better, and then my other big critique of it was that Hope had no storyline in this movie whatsoever, despite the movie being called Ant-Man and the Wasp. That genuinely pissed me off.
They, like, just brushed over her entirely, and it was just about Ant-Man and just her mom, but there really wasn't much about her.
The thing about it, though, is it ended up being about her mom and, like, not at all about her. And she had no character growth throughout the whole movie.
She was just basically there.
I remember we left that movie because we've seen it in town here, and when we were walking back the whole time, I was like, why was that called Ant-Man and the Wasp? That doesn't make any sense. And then the other half of me ranting was just Cassie Lang, and can I just input here really quick that this is the first of 2 Catherine Newton movies on this list. I love Catherine Newton so much. She's so good. Yeah. She's so good. I'm so excited to see more stuff from her in the future.
Me too.
Alright, we're back. We had to reset the cameras because one of them can only record to 30 minutes. And we found out this fucker wasn't working. So we're switching to a Rode mic on cam. So sorry if the audio changes drastically.
Technology.
Yeah, well, I'm recording the screen through the computer and also the audio. So I think what happened is the audio might have tripped out and just canceled the recording. Which is horrible. I don't like that. Yep. Where would you place this movie? I think I would give it an 8 or a 9. But in the way our structure, well, 8. No, that would be A. Both would be A for me. But you can, what are you thinking? Okay, how about this? Do you want to rank it in the terms of movies or the terms of Marvel movies? Because that's how I tend to look at media. Because I have different scales, let me tell you.
That's a lot. I think we'll just go with movies since there's so many Marvel movies and I have not ranked them. Anyway.
I mean, in the scale of movies in general, I would almost give it an S. On the Marvel movie scale, I give it an A.
Yeah. I'd say A, just because Hope didn't get much.
Yeah.
Storyline.
If they would have named the movie differently, I would have re-ranked the whole film, and that's on Marvel, I think.
If you're gonna name it Ant-Man and the Wasp has gotta be, he's gotta be there. Yeah. And not just there as a character, like, she needs to have, like, a character arc. And she had nothing.
Yeah.
She had nothing.
Yeah.
She was just,
I agree.
So,
okay. A for now. Alright, next on here. Ooh! Here's another hot take from me. Wakanda Forever. This is a hot take. I hate this movie. I think it's so bad. I've seen it once, and I remember nothing about it, because I was so bored throughout the entire movie. It's so boring! Nothing good happens in that film! I wanted it to be so good! I wanted it to honor Chadwick, and that was pretty much all it did. It had a great intro scene of honoring Chadwick, and then as soon as they moved on from that, the story is so boring. I hated it. Like, Namor should have been so special. Once again, Marvel nerd, Namor is one of Marvel's first ever characters from the 1930s. Like, or 40s, you know, the golden age. Like, okay, go ahead.
Oh, from what I can remember,
give your
a while ago.
Give your completely honest opinion. Don't let me sway you. It's in my bottom 10 Marvel films.
I was like, it was that bad.
It's not horrible. It's just not a good movie.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was boring. It was interesting. Yeah, I just love the way they honored Chadwick at the beginning. Like, that was beautifully done, and it was just not the same without him. And I think that was really what was different about the movie. It made me sad at times. It was like, he's not there, and he's never gonna be there again, and it's just, Another
demerit it had for me, and this is not their fault, this is a me fault thing, it came out while I was abroad. So I didn't get to watch it until later, and then I, didn't want to watch it because I didn't get to see it on the screen, and I was mad about it. So when I did watch it, was on a plane. I watched it on the plane to Germany, ironically, going back to Europe. And I did.
I watched it when I was on Disney Plus, so it was, high quality, at least.
I was either coming back from Scotland or I was going to Germany, I don't remember, but I watched it on a plane.
I watched it a while ago, so remember much about it.
See, but that's my point. If you can't remember the movie, that's not good. Especially for Marvel, I
have a terrible memory in general, so that might not.
Yeah, but if I ask you what happened in Captain America, any of them, you know what happened in all of them, yeah?
Pretty much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me what happened, in Endgame or Infinity War.
Well, those ones are up there, but I mean, what's another, even, Thor 2, I can tell you more happened in Thor 2, which is notoriously, the worst Marvel movie. I can tell you more. The storyline just seemed so out of nowhere, and it led nowhere, and it hasn't been brought up since, which has been another issue with Marvel right now, and Marvel's scaling back right now. Eternals got canceled, I don't know if you heard that. Eternals 2 got nixed. They canceled, and Marvel's 3 got nixed, which I'm pissed about, because Marvel's 2 is amazing. Is that on here? It is on here, it's next. We'll get to that.
I would like to see that one.
It's so good. I would put it here. Where would you put it?
Wow. Let's put it a little higher.
Okay.
Let's put it at C tier.
Okay, it's a low C movie.
Because I can't remember much about it, but that's just because I have senior moments or something. I don't know.
I will say,
remember crap.
As always, because I have to compliment every department, once again, this is a movie where the costume department. Chef's kiss.
Always.
Amazing.
Their costumes are incredible.
Yes. So, ironically, next on the list here is The Marvels, which you haven't seen still, right?
No!
Okay.
Is it on Disney Plus?
Yes! It's been out for months now. Okay,
I gotta watch it.
So here's the thing, though.
It's just Disney Plus for me had ads for a while, and I got fed up with it. So.
Okay, wait. Yeah. Let's pause to do our surprise guest.
Okay, yes. We're gonna have a surprise guest, our friend Lucy.
If she answers the phone anyways.
Hello?
That psyched you out so bad.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so we've started our tier list, and we're gotten to movies that you've seen with either
Alright,
just Hunter or
sounds
me.
good.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
wait,
definitely
we have
helpful.
3. Wait, is that the one that got deleted? Here, you talk.
Okay. So we're gonna start with. So you saw Marvels with Hunter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a lot of hot takes on this movie, and I loved it. I think it's one of the best movies Marvel's made in the last couple of years.
I also really loved it, and I'm not a Marvel expert. I've seen most of the movies and some of their more recent stuff, but especially of the recent stuff I have seen, it was really good.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think they suffered from a horrible marketing team. Like, the marketing for that movie was abysmal, but the movie was so
100%.
good. And everyone who's seen it online since is like, it's great. No one watched it, though. Like, no one went to the movie, and that's the biggest issue.
I just missed a chance to see it in theaters. I wish I had, because that would have been really cool.
Okay, Lucy, can you back me up here that the cat scene is the best thing Marvel's ever done?
Oh yeah, the cat scene felt like a trip. Like, it didn't come out of nowhere exactly, but then all of a sudden it was just happening, and I was like, I was literally speechless, and I'm pretty sure that was one of the many scenes that took you to the floor, Hunter.
Oh my god, calling me out. I fell out of my chair twice during that movie. That was the first one, and the second one was the post-credit clip, which I will not spoil if Adrienne doesn't know, but oh my god.
I need to watch this movie, like, today.
We can watch it later.
Literally after, yeah, we'll watch it after.
I'm so down. Yeah, so on our current tier list, I would give it an A. Where would you put it, S through D?
I would probably agree with you.
Okay, cool.
I would put it at A.
Amazing. Okay, sliding it into A for now. Our next movie, I have not seen.
Damsel. So it was like a very recent movie that appeared on Netflix, starring Millie Bobby Brown, Angela Bassett. Who was the other one?
He was in Love, Simon.
Yeah, Nick Robinson, and then the Queen.
Yes.
The Queen.
Robin Wright.
Yeah, Robin Wright.
Oh, that's a good
I
cast.
love
Yeah.
Robin Wright.
Yeah, it was a really good cast, and I quite enjoyed the movie. I think.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed it as well. I'm
Yeah.
not a movie buff or anything, so I know that a lot of people didn't like it as much.
Interesting.
I mean, it combined all the things I like. I like action. I like good
What's
story.
the plot?
I like. Okay, so it's about this Princess Elodie, and she agrees to marry this prince. Nick Robinson plays him, and then discovers that she's part of this like scheme to they're like sacrifices to a dragon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they throw her off a cliff.
As you do.
Yeah, and it kind of goes through her journey of like she discovering that she's like the sacrifice to many other princesses that have also like been thrown off the cliff and have been like a sacrifice. It's a whole thing, but it goes through like how she survives this dragon. Yeah, can you give like anything better explanation?
I think that's a good description.
Yeah,
I know
it sounds crazy, but yeah.
The one like issue that I know people had with it was like basically if you watch the trailer, you know what happens in the movie.
Oh.
Like,
I hate when marketing teams do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people were a little upset that both that the trailer spoiled events that happened in the movie and that overall the movie just didn't have much to it. Like they thought the quality of acting and what the people were doing was very good, but the script was bad.
It was also only told from her perspective.
Oh.
And I think it should have gone back and forth between, like, you know, the perspective of people who didn't realize that she was, you know, sent to die. Oh my god, who's calling me? No. No.
What bad timing? Who is calling
It's
you?
terrible. Anyway, someone else was trying to call me.
Interesting.
Anyway, yeah, I think it should have been told from multiple perspectives, or just gone, like, back and forth between the perspective above and then the perspective of her trying to survive the dragon. Below.
Agreed.
Interesting.
And I think that would have made it a little better. Also, I think the ending could have had more. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I would watch it again, but I think they could have done more with it. I think
Yeah.
Okay, where are y'all ranking this?
So, I say it's not 10 out of 10, but I enjoyed it, so I would put it at, like, A tier.
I would put it at like a high B or like A. I agree. I would put it in A. I don't know if it's a movie that Hunter would necessarily like.
Probably not.
So,
Do you see a dragon at any point?
this is a biased point
maybe.
of view, but
Yes, you see the dragon.
I say at least a B.
Yeah.
This
But
is a communal tier ranking. You can put it where you want. I gave you the mouse.
Okay.
I'm relinquishing my power.
Okay, where should we conclude we put it?
Do you want to tell her? Here,
Okay,
wait. Tell her what else is an A first, and then let's do that.
Okay, right now an A is Oppenheimer, Multiverse of Madness. Excuse me. Dune, Coda, Quantumania, and Marvels.
Is it on par with those?
I would say the production value. Okay, I'm trying to go off of like logistics now, not just how much I enjoyed it.
Exactly.
Where, like, production value and the script, I don't think were as good as any of those. It certainly was not as anticipated as any of those.
Also, some of the choices she made were just didn't make sense. Like, why did she cut her hair?
I would keep it in A, but like logistically, I think it has to go down to B.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense.
Those.
Based on the list we have, it's a movie I'd watch again, but I can see why not everyone enjoyed it.
Okay.
But yeah.
And then we have one more for you if you have a moment, and this is the goofy silly one. We have Argyle.
Wonderful.
So we seen Argyle for my birthday. Like 2 weeks ago. It was a lot. I loved it, and I was screaming for the second half.
It's got connections to Marvel, is what you said.
There's some things in Argyle that
big connections.
You can't tell me they're not just referencing Marvel at like 3 different points in this movie.
It's also so obvious. Like it wasn't even a subtle reference. They were being very obvious with alluding to Marvel.
Yeah. It's so funny. Also, I love the way it was filmed. I think it was filmed very nicely.
Yeah, it was...
I have not seen the entirety of either of the other Kingsman movies, though, so it made me want to go watch those to get more context, but I feel like they did this as like a spin-off where it's not super connected. It's just... it is connected, but it's stylistically not connected, and that, I think, is interesting. I think it's a cool thing they committed to, given the content of the Kingsman movies.
Yeah.
I don't know,
It was definitely, like, corny at times.
Corny's a good word for it.
But at other times, it was just, I don't know, I enjoyed it. It was a funny, goofy, like, silly action movie, and...
I think there's a fine line between corny and, like, kitschy and, like, camp. And I think it is more on the corny side than the campy side when it is trying to do that, and that makes me like it a little bit. It's visually hilarious, but it doesn't fit the tone of the movie at all, and that's what takes it down a peg or two for me.
Yeah.
I think I'd put this in B, but there's 3 of us, so we can see where this goes.
I'd say also, I agree with B, because it's not, I don't think it fits in where the movies we have for A tier, but I don't know, it's
visually an amazing story, and the writing is actually great. Yeah. It's just, the stylistic choices are so weird in the second act that I can't get over it.
I know, I liked it at first, and then, I don't know, there were some weird things that happened, but I would watch it again. Like, this is another movie I would watch again, just probably to process everything that's going on, because it's a lot.
I can tell you, having watched it a second time...
You did?
It was very interesting watching it a second time and being able to process some of those things and knowing what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
And it basically, I can't really say anything more that you haven't said already. That it was corny and it was strange that stylistically, why was it? Yeah, I agree with all of that.
What is your ranking?
I think I agree with B.
Yeah.
B? Okay. I think it's a high B. I think it's the highest of our B's so far,
Because it's
probably.
not the worst movie I've seen, but it's also, like, it doesn't...
That's the thing about it. It's,
measure up to the ones
it's
that are on
so
there,
good, but
yeah.
I can't give it higher than
Yeah.
a B. It's like the film critic in me can't do it, even though it's an amazing movie.
Yeah. I'd have to watch it again
It's
to
on
process it.
It's the same thing that, like, personally, how much I enjoyed it. It's phenomenal. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But you're right. As like a film critique, no, it can't go higher than that.
Yeah.
I will say
I went into it blind. I had no clue
Yeah.
what was going on at all. I'm like, oh, this is not what I expected.
I will say I'm gonna throw all the logic out the window for the next movie on our list because I will just be putting it straight to S. But
Okay. You know?
I don't care how horrible it is. It's going to S for me.
Okay.
Okay, but that is
Yeah.
the three we had for you. We have to figure out some other stuff going on
Yes.
soon, so we will talk to you shortly regardless.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Alright,
you.
It was a great business with you.
Yes.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
It's so
Oh.
funny. Love Lisa.
Okay.
All
Lisa
right.
Frankenstein.
Lisa motherfucking Frankenstein.
I love this movie. I don't care what anyone says, and I know you do too. I know you have a Cole Sprouse obsession.
Here's the thing. I didn't have a Cole Sprouse obsession until I
Until
started
recently.
watching the interviews for this movie. And then I got such an insane hyperfix.
I walk into the room and she's watching Riverdale, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
There's like Cole Sprouse is in it, and I'm like, okay, alright.
I genuinely developed such a Cole Sprouse addiction because I was watching. Don't even bring up Riverdale. I was watching the interviews for Lisa Frankenstein, and he is iconic, and he's an icon, and Catherine Newton is the lead. This is the other one we were talking about. Now, this movie is how you do camp.
Yeah.
If you want a campy 90s, not horror, body horror.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. It's Diablo Code, or not Diablo Code, it's
think
Zelda
of
Williams'
a mix
debut
of.
movie.
Yeah.
Zelda Williams is Robin Williams' daughter, and then Diablo Cody, who did Jennifer's Body, wrote the script, and Catherine
makes
Newton and Cole
sense.
Sprouse as a dynamic are so good together.
Oh my gosh.
If you haven't seen the press run for this movie, you just have to go watch some of it, because
Yes.
they're so good together. And
They have
if you don't
such great
know,
chemistry.
Cole doesn't talk in this movie,
No.
so that's really saying something.
I've never seen something where he doesn't talk, but he does such a good job.
And he
like trained with a mime to like.
did train with a mime. Trained with a professional
good.
mime.
We might be extremely biased, but I loved it. And also the costumes. I loved her outfits so much.
I know I told you about this. I don't know if you watched it, but they did release a whole outfit video from the costume designer that I watched already, but I know you need to see.
Yes.
it. Yeah. But I literally tweeted about this yesterday. The one thing I bought myself for my birthday, I already told you, is that they announced the Blu-ray DVD of Lisa Frankenstein. And I've never bought a DVD in my life.
Really?
No, I don't care about physical media. I care
Huh.
about music, physical media, but I don't own movies because you can just pirate anything online. And I bought Lisa Frankenstein on Blu-ray DVD yesterday. And I'm so excited
I love that for you.
for it to get here in 2 weeks. But yeah, watch Lisa Frankenstein.
Yes.
Is the
Please.
moral of the story. I think it's gonna be my #1 movie of the whole tier list,
And
but we're
the
gonna have
trailer
to talk
doesn't
about
give away
that.
too much, which I also like, because it's,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was just way better than I expected.
You have to
I
go
loved
into it knowing it's a campy 90s movie,
Yes.
though. And you have to
Yes.
know that's what you're getting into. If you're
Mhm.
going in expecting a serious movie, you can't do
No,
that. You have
no.
to go in and just be like, this is gonna be the best hour and 50
It's
minutes.
gonna be silly.
And you're
it's
gonna
gonna
laugh.
be campy. It's
I liked it.
It's over the top for a reason.
And you know it's good from me because this is not my type of movie at all, and it's made it this type of movie.
So
Like
I was very surprised you liked it.
I've watched other movies now in this genre because I'm like, ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Another hot take coming up here. Next hot on the block is Thor: Love and Thunder, the worst Thor movie, possibly? Okay, no. Thor 2 is worst. That's obvious. But Thor: Love and Thunder. Okay, here's the thing. Some people love this movie. Did you like it?
No.
Good answer.
Nope, not at all.
So you see, I have a different story related to this.
I'd rather watch Ragnarok.
I have an adjacent story that I have to tell with this, otherwise my perspective does not make sense. So when I watched this movie for the first time, it was with a person that I now hate, who you know, and another person who I now hate, but only knew for a couple weeks, in Scotland, and we finished the movie, and as the credits are rolling, we were just about to discuss our opinions on it and how we thought it was kind of weird, and I never got to fully process this movie because someone opened the door to our lounge, poked their head in, and said, "Hey guys, the Queen just died." And
That's right.
we were in Edinburgh, about 40 minutes away from where the fucking Queen died. And one of those two people that I first mentioned is English and almost started crying. Didn't ever process the movie. And then, because I heard very mixed reviews about a lot of people hating it, some people liking it, I rewatched it over J-Term. It's still bad. It's not as bad as I remember, but it's still bad. The villain is so
Awful.
horrible.
Just, no.
It's,
No.
once again, very pretty.
Yeah.
I liked...
Costumes.
I
Love
think
his costume.
I think more than most people, I liked Jane as Thor.
Yeah.
Once again, probably coming from the fact I like the comics, but
What happened to her at the end? It was like...
I don't like how it ended.
No.
Like, this is a Thor spoiler, so skip
Yeah.
a minute if you don't want it, but I hate that they gave him a child. It makes no sense. And
she died? Is she a...
Well, the Jane stuff is all accurate to the comics. I'll give them that. That does all happen in the comics.
Okay.
I just hate that they gave him a kid that isn't his kid. It's the enemy's kid, and then her name, what was it? Was it Love? Was it Thunder? I don't remember. It was some joke with the title.
That.
And I don't know. I didn't love it. It's not horrible, but it's not good. I'd give it low C. But also we have Black Panther in there, and I definitely liked it more than Black Panther, so I don't know. Do you like it more or less than Black Panther?
I like it less than Black Panther.
I don't agree with that. Okay. We're gonna have some twitting going on and drop them both into a low C, I think, then. I just can't in good faith give either of those a higher ranking, unfortunately. Which is so unfortunate because Chris deserved better in that movie. After the Ragnarok, hype that they had, it just went downhill so bad. I think Taika really just leaned in too hard. He went oh, everyone liked my comedy movie? I'm gonna make an even funnier movie! And he went to the funny area that got so funny it wasn't funny anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
Alright, so next up here on our list, we have one that I have oddly personal ties to. You do also, but not as much as me.
Yes.
Marmalade, Joe Keery, Aldous Hodge, and I don't remember the girl's name, unfortunately. Do you know who it is?
I've never seen her in anything, so I don't know.
I also haven't. I'd seen Aldous Hodge in one or two of the things, I think, but they were small roles. So Marmalade, if you don't know, it's a crime film, and I have not seen it yet. This is the thing. She has. But I am more emotionally tied to it somehow. So Marmalade was filmed
too much about it.
a lot in Stillwater and a couple other Minnesota areas, and then specifically, it was filmed a little bit. They had a 2-day shoot in a little town called Taylor's Falls. Now, Taylor's Falls is, I won't dox myself, but it is more than 10 minutes, less than 40 minutes from where I live. And I went to set. I know people who personally seen Joe Keery. I was there during Aldous Hodge's scenes, and then my very close friend Isaac, he also, low-key worked on the film for a day, helping with the cars, which is a whole other thing that's just very strange. and cool.
Crazy.
Yeah, like, we didn't know each other at the time. I still can't believe we were on that set at the same day. It's so strange.
Wow.
But yeah, I met the first, it was either the second director or the AC, on set, and she gave us water. It was extremely hot that day. You might know what I'm talking about now, but there's a scene where they're, like, discussing papers on the back of a car, and, like, the two cops, or FBI agents are, and, that was the scene they were filming where I was.
Oh.
And also, you've been to that place. I brought her to this place, unrelated to
Yeah.
this, to eat dinner, or eat lunch once. It was the place called Bees.
We were right there.
Yeah, we were there.
right there.
But, like, yeah, we watched them film that scene in the back of the car, and, like, the papers kept blowing away because it was windy out that day. It was a whole thing. I got memories. And I was super mad because they didn't show it in the theater near us at all. The closest one was an hour and a half away, and I just couldn't justify going to it.
Pirate this.
So she pirated over break, and didn't tell me, so I didn't know. So just...
I'm sorry, I forgot.
I need no spoilers.
Yeah,
I just want to know how you thought it was.
Okay. It was definitely not, like, A tier for me. I'd say B tier. I might just be dumb, but I didn't see the plot twist coming. I probably should have, but
Interesting.
she's probably gonna make fun of me if, like, if she watches it, because she'd probably be like, I figured that out 10 minutes ago. I'm like,
You're usually good with plot twists, though,
I know.
so don't show yourself
I don't
short.
know. Anyway, I enjoyed it.
Did you
the plot
recognize
twist-
the Superior? Or, is this not Superior? Stillwater. Did you recognize Stillwater in it? Because they filmed. That's so cool.
I think probably at the diner was a big one, and then when they were like,
that one I know very well. But I've been to Stillwater
when
like
they were
10
like
times.
outside the diner and like driving around, and it was interesting. Also, I love Joe Keery. That's why I wanted to watch it, because I'm a huge Stranger Things fan, and I love his character in Stranger Things. He just has so much character development, and he's just such a great actor, and I want to see him in more things. So I was happy to see him in a movie outside of like Stranger Things. And, because he did Spree, but I just want to see him in more things, and so I really enjoyed it. I got to see him like acting in a different way.
Distilling the mouse.
Yes. I got to see him act in a different way that he did in Stranger Things, so it was like a more emotional, complex side than he usually does. Because he's usually more comedic or sarcastic. And so, but I think for a lot of these, I would watch it again. I think I'll wait till like it's easier to access.
I'm hoping it gets put somewhere that isn't Hulu, because I don't have Hulu. But
yeah. I'm kind of hoping like Hulu or Netflix or something like that. Not HBO, I don't have that, but that's usually where they put the movies, which sucks. But yeah, it's hard to talk about this because I don't want to spoil anything. Well, the person's right next to me.
Well, there's your ranking. We'll talk about it more later.
We can like change our minds later on when we've both seen it, but I think I just need to watch it again or something. Yeah. But for now, it's at B tier.
Okay, the next one on this list here is the Final Guardians movie, which I don't even need to say anything. It is a top 5 Marvel film for me. I cried in the theater like 6 times in that movie. It's an S easy for me. I don't even need to discuss it, really. Are you? I feel like we've seen it together. You agree?
I loved it.
It's one of the best things I've seen in theaters ever.
I love that we got to see Rocket's backstory, because
Rocket was always the leader of the Guardians. And it's so obvious once you see this film, like every movie should have had a higher Rocket focus. He's just the best character in the whole team.
I didn't know I could feel so much emotion
see
so much emotion from a CGI raccoon. Like,
yeah.
How?
I love the stories of the Guardians because I love space stuff, but I've always liked the Avengers much more. I've never been like a huge Guardians fan, and I actually don't love a lot of the Guardians characters, and since the first movie, Rocket, Yondu, and Nebula are my favorite of the Guardians franchise.
Always
and
Nebula.
I love them. I love Karen Gillan so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Rocket, just getting a Rocket-focused movie for the finale of the Guardians.
I was so happy.
Oh, and Adam Warlock was actually a good new character, which we don't get that often anymore, so I'm like...
Oh, it was so good.
Coulter.
S tier, 100%.
Yes.
Like, perfect. It was
so good. Okay. The next one's weird. And this is a tier ranking list of the last 2-3 years, so you might not understand why there's a movie from the 20s?
I think
30s?
It was 30s. 30s, yeah.
We have the original Wizard of Oz on this list. Do you want to explain why?
So, the Hudson Theater was doing this thing where they were showing, like, it was like a celebration of, it was like, how
Judy
many
Garland's, like,
Judy
something
Garland's-
birthday.
Yeah, I think it was Judy Garland's birthday. And so they were showing Wizard of Oz on the big screen.
So we got to see the Wizard of Oz on the big screen, which is crazy.
It
I'm
was
so happy
cool.
about it.
I enjoyed it so much. Very nostalgic. Also,
I will acknowledge quickly that this camera has turned off, so you're hearing Adrienne from there, but I'll fix it in like 2 minutes.
okay. Anyway, so yeah, it was just very nostalgic.
To be clear,
for me.
we've both
Yeah.
seen the movie
Yes,
already before
yes.
this multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
Try to go a little bit faster here because we
Yeah,
know it's getting
yeah.
long, but we do have some really big ones still. So honestly, this might just be an extra long video. So enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have a 2024 Oscar winner. I believe it's Best Adapted Screenplay. It's one of the screenplay winners, I'm pretty sure. Anatomy of a Fall. I caved and told you a little bit about this yesterday already. So, Anatomy of the Fall is, if you don't know it immediately, for you, the internet, it's the dog clapping meme from the Oscars this year. The dog's name is Messi. We love the dog. But it is about it is a courtroom drama, which I wasn't expecting fully going into it. I knew it was about a person who dies and then the trial.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be as courtroom heavy as it is. I was expecting this to be one of my top 3 Oscar movies from this year, and after watching it, it's one of my lowest, actually. I think the very beginning, the first 30 minutes of the movie is very solid and very good, and the dog is honestly the best actor in the movie. Fun fact that I didn't realize until after I finished Zone of Interest is that the lead female in both movies is the same person, and they're in 2 different languages, so I was very like, is that her? And then afterwards I looked it up, and it was in fact her. So she did a great performance in both. It's just, in Zone of Interest and in Anatomy of a Fall, they're very slow. They're such, like, slow-paced, like, real-life style movies. I just stuttered so hard. There is a word for that in film. Can't think of what it is right now, but they're very real-life accurate in the way they're told. But it's just such a courtroom drama that I was bored by a lot of it. Synopsis - minor spoilers is basically, it is a mom, the father, and then their son, and the son is blind, and they have a dog. And basically, the little boy goes out to walk the dog, and while he's gone, he comes back and finds his father's been killed - murdered. And the story is the mom gets accused of the murder, and the whole trial is the whole movie about whether or not she actually killed him or not. And that's kind of the gist of the whole thing. It feels very procedural television turned into a high-budget movie. I did not like it nearly as much as I wanted to. It was still a good movie. It's like a 2.5-hour movie of courtroom.
Wow.
Yeah, and then there's interspliced cuts of them going back to their house throughout it. I think I gave it a 7 out of 10, but based on this list, I would probably give it high C, low B. Just because I wouldn't...
Was it on the Oscars list?
Yeah, it won, like, best adapted screenplay or best screenplay, I'm pretty sure. And I'm telling you, the dog is actually the best actor. The dog and the kid both did a really good job. But it's a critique I've seen reading reviews on it, actually, was that it seemed a little overacted for it being the type of movie that it was, and I can see that in certain scenes. I feel bad giving it a C, but I wouldn't actively recommend it to anyone, I don't think. I think if you're watching it to see a well-done movie, it is technically, from a film perspective, a very well-made movie. I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to, so I would give it a C, I think.
Okay.
A low B, but I'm gonna put it in C.
I've seen it, so I can't say anything.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I don't know.
Next up, I could have said
Sounds
this when
slow.
Lucy was on the phone with us, but alas, I forgot. We have Spider-Verse.
Oh.
Which you've seen for the first time recently.
Yes.
I seen it in theater when it came out.
I just don't keep up with things, but I never got to see it in theater, but I finally watched it, like, before break. Oh my gosh. It's
phenomenal.
So good. The type of animation they have is so unique. It's kind of like comic book-like, in a way,
Yes,
which I love.
that's their intention.
Yeah. But it's I loved it so much. I hated that it was a cliffhanger. I knew it was coming, but it's like, no, I want more!
Yeah.
I want more, like, right now!
It's so crazy how Sony is borderline ruining the Spider-Man series with their shoot-offs like Madam Web and the Venom stuff right now. Craven. And then you have the animated movie, which is, like, far and above the best thing being made animated out there right now.
Yeah.
Like, we have Boy and the Heron on this list, which I do like a lot, and we'll get to it, but, like, you cannot fight me that this movie is 15 times better than The Boy and the Heron was. It's just phenomenal in every way. It's groundbreaking technology nonetheless. Like, they deserve to win the Oscar this year. I'm still pissed that they didn't. Yeah. I think we're agreeing that this is an S tier movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
I
I could see all the hype about it. It was phenomenal.
So good. Okay, next on our list here we have Wonka.
This is what I want to see.
You haven't seen Wonka? I thought so. Okay, so
Yes.
I shot a whole video about Wonka actually, and I didn't end up releasing it, and I was thinking about it this morning before I asked if you wanted to film today. And I've realized that I didn't end up releasing that movie because I didn't have enough strong opinions about it to justify releasing the video in the first place. Wonka was so mid. Speaking of Timothée Chalamet, though, he is back again.
Yep.
The music.
I haven't seen him in. It was interesting.
The music in this film is so incredibly forgettable, it upsets me.
Oh no.
There is one number in the middle that's so good, and it's the only. It's not even memorable. It was just like good in the movie itself, and every other song forgettable, not great. Visually, it's very nice. I had a thing I was telling people about this, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It was something like I think it was the beginning is the end is meh, the middle is good. Kind of my justification of the whole movie. Like, the middle section was good, but I didn't like the ending, and I didn't like the beginning. So it's like, does that really justify watching it in the first place? I don't know. If you like musicals and musical theater, I think it's worth watching. Or just the franchise that is the Wonkaverse at this point, which is a weird name. The Wonkaverse.
So it's a musical?
Oh, it's very much a musical. There's also a
Oh.
CGI giraffe in it for like 30 minutes, and it's worse than Dolittle somehow.
I did not get that from the trailer.
Yeah. It's not horrible. I think I gave it a 6 or a 7. I'd probably also put it in high C. Timothy's very good in it. I just don't think I don't think the writing was good in this movie at all. The cast, everyone was good. The CGI was actually quite bad, which currently isn't great.
That's not good.
I had one other thing I wanted to say. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, Wes Anderson. Have you seen anything Wes Anderson's directed?
Oh, names of things.
He's the guy who does the like crazy symmetry and like the wide sets. If you don't know, you don't know. So, talking to you, camera. This was not directed by Wes Anderson. There is clear, blatant not stealing, but they reference Wes Anderson multiple times in this film, and if you tell me they don't, I will not believe you. There's so many scenes in this film that look like they're like straight out of a Wes Anderson thing, which is out of a Wes Anderson film, and I was like, what is happening right now? This does not fit the vibe of the rest of the movie, and that was the only other big thing that I have of note from that film. So yeah, I would put it low C, high B, probably, or low C, high C, low B. I got there. Yeah, okay. Next one's all you.
Okay, so I saw Mean Girls. Absolutely love this musical. What annoyed me so much about people is that they didn't realize it was a musical. And so they're comparing it to the movie, which is not a musical.
This is a trend in modern media, though.
It's
Not marketing musicals properly.
I think that the downfall was the marketing, because they didn't really show that it was a musical in the trailer. I knew it was a musical because it's Mean Girls, and it's Renee Rapp, of course it's going to be a musical, but they just didn't market it well enough. So people came in being like, oh, it's just a reboot of the movie.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's the musical, the Broadway musical, in a movie. And I enjoyed it, but I feel like it could have been better. They're just... The actress who played Katie Heron did not have the right voice for it.
Ooh, that's bad for a musical.
Not strong enough.
That's
because we have Renee, who's been on Broadway.
Yeah.
And also, the one who played Janice, I can't remember her name, but she also had a fantastic voice, and I think fit the character really well. But, I don't know, it wasn't strong enough, and also some of the songs that they did in the musical, they just were kind of lackluster compared to on stage. I liked it, but probably more than other people, but I just feel like it was missing something, or missing multiple things. Also, I know this is probably nothing coming from a lesbian, but the guy was not hot. They were trying so hard to make him attractive. No, he's not. And that probably means nothing for me, but I felt like it was just cringy. Whereas I got gay panic like 7 times watching that movie because Renee, and there was a bunch of other, it was just very attractive women in that movie. Anyway, sorry.
Me with Timothée Chalamet right now, so honestly, and Cole.
Literally, when Renee was in a scene, it didn't matter who else was in the scene, it was just her. She stole every scene. I'm just like, I know there's an entire ensemble behind you. I am not straight, can you tell? I don't think I mentioned that, but it's kind of obvious. But yeah. Renee made it a little better. If Renee wasn't in it, I think I probably would have not liked it as much, but it just was missing something. So I'm going to put it B tier because
it's so laggy when you do it for some reason.
I'm just terrible at it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't A tier, it wasn't S tier. I'd watch it again, but it was just missing something. The music was just lackluster in a lot of places.
That's really unfortunate for a musical, though.
Especially Apex Predator, I was so disappointed because it's supposed to be a duet between Janice and Katie. Katie wasn't even singing at all. Probably because she couldn't sing it. Like, her acting was great, and she fit the look, but her singing voice just wasn't strong enough. And you need to have someone who has a strong singing voice. Like, I know in these movie musicals sometimes, like, they cast more on looks and acting, but I think they should start looking more for stronger
singing voices. There's so much
voices.
debate right now in the industry, I guess, with, like, whether they should hire Broadway people, or hire actors, or hire people in between, and it's like, if you hire a lead that's Broadway, but no one else in the cast is from Broadway, then your cast is unbalanced, and it's like, I know there's, like, no right solution, but there needs... I feel like my solution is to hire Broadway actors, I'm not gonna lie. I know some people have opinions both ways, and
I'm glad they did Renee, but I feel like they could have done more people.
I understand both sides of the argument, but also Broadway people notoriously get paid much less anyways, and, like, you don't have to hire big Broadway actors. You could hire understudies, and you could hire other people who are off Broadway, and, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a solution there somewhere.
And you aren't disappointed by the music, because as a musical nerd myself, I just was very sad. That was just very sad. I was like, this is not how the soundtrack is.
That's unfortunate, yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Alright. Next is kind of like our Wizard of Oz honorable mention. We've seen a Halloween special of Nightmare Before Christmas on the big screen. And that was so fun. We've seen it in a double feature with Five Nights at Freddy's, which we'll get to also.
Yep.
I don't know. We don't need to talk about Nightmare Before Christmas.
Everyone knows what Nightmare Before Christmas is.
Is it an S?
I think so.
I think it's an S. I think it has to be an S.
And I'm not the biggest Tim Burton fan, but
I am.
I loved it.
Movie-wise,
and it made me love the movie
person-wise.
because I used to not like it. I just used to like the music, but I guess just seeing it from a different perspective, it's so good.
I say this every time I talk about it, and I feel bad always bringing it up when I talk about it, but since I've seen it on the big screen, I can't get over how good the quality is. Like, every time I've seen it, ever, it feels like it's got that grainy 80s claymation style, but seeing it on the big screen, it was so clear and crystal, and you could see everything and all the details, and the fact it was claymation.
I think that is also what made me really like it, because it was visually different looking, and I'm usually very freaked out by claymation.
It's like the Gravity Falls thing, where he's afraid of claymation. I just realized that's you. That's funny.
Yeah, I don't like claymation. It's probably why I don't like Tim Burton or anything.
I seen a real model of Jack Skellington when I was in Frankfurt, and it made my whole trip. It was very cool.
So cool.
Alright, next up is 2024. Oscar winner, The Holdovers. This is another one that I had no expectations for going in, and I think that was actually a good thing for this because it ended up being probably my second favorite of the ones I hadn't already watched because I did a final 6 watch over break. It's about a boy who gets held over I think it's winter break because it's Christmas. And basically his family just got remarried and they didn't pick him up, and they were like, we're gonna go have our honeymoon instead of picking you up, and this kid's already like super troubled, so he has to stay behind and a bunch of other kids have to stay behind, and they're like prep school boys, like rich idiots. And eventually stuff happens and like all of them get to leave except for just the one kid, and he's like a troublemaker, and the actual story is focused on Paul Giamatti, who's like a teacher who's like a stuck-up snobby teacher who none of the students like him, everyone hates him, and another character whose child just died. So it's those three people, and the story just goes into how these like 3 people with very strong personalities, 2 of which are very negative, come together and end up all loving each other, not, loving each other in like a respecting each other's perspectives of the world sort of way. It was very sweet, another very wholesome one. It was shot and filmed in a very lovely, succinct way. I don't know, it was just a nice all-around feel-good movie, I would say. I did just remember it won for best either leading female or best leading support female, which I thought was weird because I think I don't remember her name, but she was amazing in the film, but I feel like of the other ones in the category, I was confused why that one won. But overall as a movie, it's a great movie. I think I'd give it a high B. But I would recommend it. It's very good. And I seen Weird Flora shout out because I'm not super close friends with Flora. I seen on Twitter the other day that Flora dropped it as one of their favorite movies of recently, and I was like, oh, I just seen that.
Nice.
So it's good.
Okay.
Recommend.
Yeah.
You see what's next. Adrienne, would you like to read it out?
Poor Things.
Can I start by saying it's funny as hell that Poor Things and Lisa Frankenstein came out within a few months of each other? Because they're the same, but completely different. Completely different at the same time.
One I'd watch again and one I will never touch again.
I'm so proud of you for not leaving the theater during Poor Things.
I was so close. It made me so uncomfortable.
I stared at my shoes for a lot of this movie, but that being said, it is a very technically amazing movie, and
Yes.
Emma Stone did so well, and Mark Ruffalo also did.
Nails every performance she does. I love Emma Stone. That was what made me keep watching the movie. To be honest, the filming styles were very unique.
So
I will
pretty.
give it that. It was just very sexually explicit.
I knew that there was going to be some. I could have never predicted
I went into this blind.
the amount of nudity in this film. I could have guessed 10 times and not gotten close. It's kind of insane, actually.
Also the fact that she has the brain of an infant and is doing
That's the
all
commentary
this.
of the film, though, is how men exploit women and children.
Yeah, it's so messed up.
It's got an amazing theme once you look into it and have time to digest it after the fact. It's a very good movie. I don't even want to say it's a one-time watch. I want to say it's a guarded watch. You gotta know what you're getting into when you watch it.
I mean, okay, so
I would
it was
give
on
it
the
an-
Oscars list, right?
It won 4 Oscars. It was the
Yeah.
second biggest winner, yes. I would give it an A
I think it's
on
just
our
my
tier.
fact. Minus the... I don't know if I can even say. Say my opinion about it. Because this is just me being uncomfortable with sex scenes.
Same, to be clear.
Because I'm ace.
I'm very ace as well.
So we were both very uncomfortable. I just... no. Got so close to seeing a man's... Anyway, don't like that. Yeah. I can see why it won awards. Also Emma Stone, just...
On our list here, I think it should be sitting in S. I think personally I'd give it an A. but I don't know what your opinions on this are, so this will be a floater, I think.
I'm not giving it an S. I'm not. No, I can't.
That's fine.
A.
You're okay.
We'll do
Okay,
A.
we can do an A.
Let's move on.
We can do an A. Okay, we'll drop it an A, and we'll move on. Okay. I'm gonna switch these around because we both seen the last two, so we can end on the ones we've both seen.
I'm so dramatic.
Do
I'm
FNAF
so
last. Okay, so Oscars 2024 also. American Fiction. This was probably my favorite of the last batch of Oscars movies I watched. I went in knowing nothing more than the synopsis on this. It is about a man who is an author, and he also kind of has that thing that Paul Giamatti's character has in The Holdovers, where like none of his students like him. He's kind of stuck up. Difference is that he has this thing. He's a black man, and he has a thing against racism throughout the movie and the stereotypification of like black stereotypes. And he wants to just be treated like as a society, just like more normal. And he thinks that the stereotype of like gangsters, rapping, shooting, drugs. He thinks that like everyone, white people and black people, feed into it too much to the point where it's just creating these loops in society where they can't make any actual progress. And the movie is him hating that no one can seem to get that into their mind, that they're just making the stereotype worse by feeding into it. And he's writing these like really in-depth books that are progressive and have black Americans just existing and living normal lives. And then other people are writing books into the stereotypes, and those are the ones getting viral and going famous, and his aren't getting traction. So the plot of the movie is he writes a book using all of the stereotypes, and that book gets really famous.
Oh my god.
And he does not want anything to do with it, but he needs money. Because the other half of the movie, like the B plot or A plot, however you want to say it, is that one of the characters surprisingly dies within the first like half of the movie, and I didn't see it coming. I was actually surprised. And then another character like almost dies. There's a bunch of like family trauma, and he needs money to like support his life. So he has to take the money from the book deal, which turns into a movie deal, and it just spirals and spirals. And the plot of the movie is that like the more stupid he is, the more money he makes. But it's written and it's portrayed as just like this really grounded story that just makes sense. It doesn't feel like kitschy and over the top. I don't know. I really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot. It's probably my favorite of the ones I've watched. I think I gave it a 9, which would put it in A on our tier, I guess.
That's one I gotta check out now.
Yeah,
Sounds,
I liked it a lot. Also,
yeah.
our tier list is like doing the opposite tier thing, where it's very high, which is good.
Yeah.
That means we watched good movies this year. I
There's
like it.
none in the D tier. So.
I mean, I have 2 in the D tier. You wouldn't let me put them in the D tier.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay, next up, take it away, because I hate these movies as well.
Okay, so, I watched Avatar: Way of Water a while ago. I watched it in theater. I've never seen a movie that's 3 hours in theater. I was very sore when I got up because I was sitting for so long. But I pulled up the plot summary because I don't really remember. It's been so long. I just remember the movie was long and really pretty. So it was kind of like after Jake Sully becomes like an avatar forever pretty much. And formed a family and are doing everything to stay together. However, they must leave their home and explore the regions of Pandora. When an ancient threat resurfaces, Jake must fight a difficult war against the humans. So his original enemy in the first movie ends up being alive.
I hate that plot
pissed me off for one thing, because he pissed me off in the first movie, and then he comes back as an avatar. So it's this thing all over again where they're trying to escape from this guy, and it was 3 hours. These movies are visually stunning. I will give them that. It is so pretty to look at. There were some deaths that made me mad, of main characters. It was very, very, very long and slow at times. I get it was trying to develop the characters and everything, getting to know the new environment that they were in, but it was just, I liked the first one better. The second one was long.
I know nothing. I kind
The
of...
asshole was back.
I don't like these movies out of pure spite, so...
And I'll give it a C.
Ooh, that low, huh? I've heard a
Yeah.
lot of good things about it. I just personally do not like the franchise.
For the first one, I'm sorry.
What would you give the first one if you were ranking it?
The first one I would give like a B or an A. I really like the
I've
first
seen
one.
half of the first
Yeah.
one, and I just
Also,
was so bored.
yeah, also, like, the first one, they have, like, a whole ride at Disney World. And
Is Zoe
it's so
Saldana in the
cool.
second one?
Hmm?
Is Zoe Saldana in the second one?
I can't remember. I think so. Yeah.
I
Um,
love her.
Sigourney Weaver voices a 14-year-old character, which I thought was a little strange. It's interesting where they're going with the daughter, and I think that means they're going to make another movie, and it's probably going to be even longer. They're just going to get longer and longer. It's going to be like a 9-hour movie. Anyway, but yeah, it was not what I expected.
Yeah.
It's just...
Alright. We have 2 more left, everyone. Hang in there. We have The Boy and the Heron. I think I liked it more than both you and Amber, but I'll have you start, because
So it's my first Studio Ghibli movie I've ever seen. And I'm now curious to see how it was with Robert Pattinson and how
True.
he
We've
did the
seen
voice.
the actual
Yes.
version in Japanese,
Yes.
so that is a thing to
So,
note.
I kind of want to just hear a few
Hear his
clips.
psychopath
Yes.
voice as the heron.
Because it's,
I also
it's
wanna hear
something
it.
else. But I did not like... And I know this is like normal for Studio Ghibli, but it was just my first time viewing it. I was freaked out by the heron. Really freaked out by him.
I love him.
Uh,
How do you not like him? He's the best part of the movie.
I know, it's just I don't know.
He's just an insane man inside a heron. That's
I
so
just-
Studio
that
Ghibli.
was so unsettling for me.
His big
I don't
teeth.
know.
Yeah, so the movie is like
No.
an allegory for Miyazaki's life. And he was gonna leave filmmaking, and then he came back and made one more film, and it seems to be very eclectic of his experiences as a filmmaker and the worlds he's created. And overall characterization, it's a very good movie. It's by no means my top Studio Ghibli movie. I've seen 3 or 4 of them. It's still a very solid movie. I think Spider-Verse is better than it by a large margin, no matter what way you look at it. I think Miyazaki is just much more well-known and renowned as a technical filmmaker, and storyteller even more so in that regard, especially with his very iconic art style that Ghibli has.
Animation is gorgeous.
It's very pretty.
Gorgeous.
But yeah,
Some of these, if I didn't like it, I liked how it looked visually.
yes.
But
I mean,
Some of them
I
just
would
bother me.
probably put it in low A.
yeah, I have to go with that. It's not S tier for me.
Yeah, I don't think it's S tier.
No.
I liked it a lot, and I would happily watch it again, but it's not an S tier for me by any means.
Yeah.
Are you fine with low A? I felt like
Yeah.
you had a lower opinion of it, but if you liked it, that makes me happy if you liked it that much.
Yeah. It was just this. Yeah. I'm just not used to that. So.
Yes.
Animation style. It was just something used to, but it was a good story. It was beautiful animation, so yeah. It was
Right.
good.
Let's finish off now on
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's. This where you wanna be. Okay. How you did?
So I was very late to this franchise, and just because I don't like jump scares, and so I don't watch any videos like this. They freak me out. Yeah.
I have been watching Five Nights at Freddy's since Markiplier, Game 3.
And she showed me some Markiplier videos.
Which, if you know the FNAF lore, the timeline is insane, because Game 3 came out, like, 4 months after the first game came out. So I was very early, which, that is an insane timeline, by the way, if I never mentioned that before. But, I've seen everything FNAF through Mark, because Mark is one of my biggest inspirations, YouTubers
He's
of
so
all time.
entertaining.
Love that man. But purely on the FNAF scale of movie, I loved it so much. I wanted it to be scary. I know they had the PG-13 rating. I needed more scares, and because of that fact alone, I cannot put it in S tier, but for me, it's very clearly an A. Just alone with the Jim Henderson animatronics, like, they're the coolest thing I've ever seen. I cannot stress enough how amazing the props are in this movie. I cannot believe they made them in real life and they look that good. They look like the game.
They use.
They look insane. They're so good. The
Yeah.
story could have been stronger, but they're making this massive, absolutely nonsense franchise that the Scott Cawthon himself doesn't even understand half the time into a palatable movie for the general audience. I think they did great with what they had.
There's so much that has to be packed into this one movie, and
And
are
you
they gonna
don't
make
even-
more movies?
Yes, it was
Okay,
confirmed.
then
But, like, you don't even know a tenth of what I know,
No.
and what I know isn't half of what the hardcore nerds know. Like, I've seen every MatPat video and everything, which is insane.
Yeah.
I would give it middle A, probably, on here.
Yeah.
I know it's not your genre of movie, but
I'm
you
such a
seemed
scaredy
to
cat
enjoy it.
when it comes to like scary movies or jump scares. I'm just very jumpy. I enjoyed it though. It was not what I expected. I was basically dragged to see this movie.
Over dragged. Yes, it's a fact.
Because I would not voluntarily do it, and I did get jump scared.
You're fine.
Yeah, I did get jump scared a few times, but I expected to get jump scared more, so I was kind of surprised that I wasn't as jump scared as many times.
I need the second
was-
one to be scarier. I
Yeah.
need them too. I don't care if they go from PG-13 to R. I need more.
Yeah. I say A. Yeah. I
Woo!
agree with that, yeah. I liked it.
Alright. Cool.
I just don't know if I'd watch it I'd watch it during the day.
Okay, let's go through our S tier
Okay.
and rank them. And then the bottom we can probably leave, but I feel like we need to figure out our little S tier nonsense here. So we have like our honorary Wizard of Oz and Nightmare Before Christmas, so we'll just leave them at the end because they're their own thing. And then we've seen everything here except for Dune. So because you haven't seen it and because I would be okay putting it in A. I'm fine with putting it at the bottom just so we can talk about these. I feel like of these, you'd probably want Everything Everywhere All at Once at the bottom because you didn't even make it through the first time, regardless if you like it later. That's kind of a demerit, despite it being acclaimed as one of the best movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It just... No.
Of these four, I would
Still
definitely
S tier, so.
put Barbie the lowest. But do you have an opinion on that, of those four? Of
What are the other
So this is
options?
Guardians 3,
Okay.
Spider-Verse, Barbie, and Lisa Frankenstein.
Ooh. Yeah. Guardians is really high for me.
Yeah.
Really high.
These four are just the best films I've seen in the last 2 years at least, but...
Barbie exceeded my expectations, but also I feel like they could have done more.
I love Barbie for what they accomplished in Barbie, but I don't feel like the story is nearly as strong as Spider-Verse or Guardians 3.
I'd say these are the top two for me. I'm just trying to figure out. I'd say Guardians is top for me. Like,
Interesting. I think...
I don't know. It's hard to...
I
They're
don't
both
know.
so good. It's hard to pick.
I think Barbie's...
Yeah, Barbie's at
fourth.
the bottom of the S tier.
Honestly, purely out of hyperfixation, I think Lisa Frankenstein is my number one. But pitting these two against each other is hard. Like, I don't know what I would pick there.
Oh.
If we had the Marvel TV shows in here, I would have Loki in this trio, but I think we might do another TV episode in a month or so.
Yeah.
Because Loki's its own thing. It's its own beast. But, I don't know. These two are pretty tied for me as my second and third, because I'm just gonna be insane and give Lisa Frankenstein my first place, which I should not do, but I'm doing.
Okay.
What are yours? So Guardians.
Ooh. And I say Guardians is first, Spider-Verse is second. Yeah.
Alright.
They were fantastic.
Beautiful. We have done it. We have ranked everything we had to rank. I have two little quotes from friends that people sent in that I'm gonna add on at the end here. One is from Kyle on Instagram, who wanted to do a special shout out for the movie Barbarian. They said, "It's a dark horse pick, I know, but I really loved it, and it's awesome. I watched the trailer for it. It seems to be a horror movie about two people sharing a rental house, and it does look pretty spooky. I I think it has something to do with the creators of It also, so it seems like it's a good quality movie. Fun if you're looking for horror. We don't have many horror things on here, so there's a recommendation for you. And then Isaac chimed in at the last minute here and said that he loved Bullet Train for its dumb action and comedy. He also said everyone's hot in that movie, and the outfits were cool, and the locations were great. The movie deserves more love. Have you seen Bullet Train? I have not.
No, I have not, but it looked very, very fun.
So those are 2 more recommendations. Not that you needed more after this massive list. I also, like I said at the beginning, I still don't know what 2 movies got randomly deleted. They did not come back to me. So unfortunately we're missing a couple in here. And I left off a bunch of Oscar movies that I had below 6 stars out of 10, because I just didn't really want to talk about them. But yeah, that is our very in-depth, very long ranking.
Yes.
If you made it through this whole movie, If you made it through this whole podcast tier list, drop a comment below. Actually, what I want to hear is, of this list, what are your top 3 or top 5?
Yeah.
Yeah? That would be cool.
Definitely.
I would love to hear your top
What are
movies.
your opinions?
And if you have seen Lisa Frankenstein, tell me what you think of it, because I know this is the most controversial opinion of all time. And if not, go watch Lisa Frankenstein.
Yes.
Buy
please.
the Blu-ray or stream it somewhere, pirate it, I don't know. Support
Fun,
movie makers.
campy movie.
It also, another thing is that I find interesting about it is it was made with a super low budget for Hollywood movies. It's like
That's
20.
surprising.
It was made for like 20 million or something, which is like microscopic at a Hollywood level. So, support movie makers, support your local arts and all that. The only other thing I'll say, I guess, before we end this very long recording, is that it is, surprise, the 1-month anniversary of Photo Memories today. I seen that this morning when I was getting ready, which is our short film that we made. I directed the lead actor, co-lead actor. It's the last video on my channel. I gave it a month breathing room. Please, I'm begging you, go watch it. Even if you just stream it in the background for watch hours, that's like a huge support to us.
Yes.
So I, like, just after you watch this, if you have nothing to do, maybe just click on the video.
A lot of hard work was put into this, and it deserves to be seen because it's amazing.
And yeah, we're having our in-person premiere in like 3 weeks, which is super exciting. Yeah. All right. I think that's all I have. Let me just check real quick.
And then if you do see it, rate it on IMDb.
Oh yeah, it's on IMDb.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. You can go there and you can hit it and rate it honestly, because that still helps and it gives people more honest review about what they're going into.
Because we're still learning things, and so yeah.
Awesome. That is everything here. I'm gonna stop this because it's already an hour-long recording. Jesus Christ. Alright. Thank you for watching. I have been Hunter.
I've been Adrienne.
We will try to make a part 3 that isn't 4 months from now.
Yes.
I can't make promises because this month is
busy.
Insane. April's bad.
Stage and Screen Arts majors. Sorry, we got a lot going on.
I'm directing another short film. She's starring in a musical.
You're in Town, the musical, and I'm gonna be in some one act soon. There's a whole thing going on.
We are busy.
Yes.
Anyways, thank you for watching so much.
Thank you for watching.
And have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye. Woo!